Hello, everyone. My name is Edith. I had many hopes and dreams about my marriage to Jeffrey. We met at a work event and instantly hit it off. We dated for 3 years before deciding to get married. Jeffrey was a very kind and caring boyfriend who spoiled me with gifts and dates even when I didn't ask for them. I grew up poor and had no family connections, so when I met Jeffrey, I thought I had found my soulmate. Our relationship was almost perfect, except for one problem. Jeffrey's mother, Vivian, didn't like me at all. Vivian was rich from smart investments and Jeffrey had grown up comfortably. When she found out he was dating someone like me, she had a hard time accepting it. She told Jeffrey, "I know you love each other, but you need to think it through. Jeffrey is used to a comfortable life and you don't have a substantial income, Edith. I'm afraid you'll end up taking advantage of him." I responded, "Vivian, I know my family wasn't well off, but I'm doing okay for myself. I love Jeffrey and want to be with him." Jeffrey backed me up, saying, "Mom, you're being too critical. I like spoiling Edith. She's a great girl who listens to me and considers my feelings. We make a good match." But Vivian was never convinced. She always had doubts about our relationship, which made me feel hostile toward her. No one likes being called a gold digger by their in-laws. So, Vivian and I had a strained relationship from the start. I thought my marriage to Jeffrey would bring me mother-in-law problems, and since Vivian was powerful and headstrong, I doubted we would get along. She never went beyond expressing her doubts about me though. I admired her but kept my distance, feeling secure with Jeffrey's support. I married Jeffrey, the sweet and caring guy I wanted to spend my life with, but life had other plans. Shortly after our wedding, Jeffrey changed completely. He stopped being affectionate or caring. He no longer spoiled me with gifts, but I did mine because I was with him for love, not money. Things quickly got worse. Jeffrey turned out to be greedy and selfish, a side he never showed before our marriage. He became a freeloader, expecting me to cater to all his demands. It started small, with him asking for cash or for me to buy things, but soon I was paying for everything. Every month, he had an excuse for why he couldn't contribute to household expenses. I never complained, thinking it was a temporary situation. However, I was shocked when Jeffrey suddenly quit his job because of management problems. He didn't consult me, he just informed me after it was done. When I asked him about finding a new job, he said, "I don't want to go to work, Edith. All this toxic work culture is getting to me. I don't think I'm made to work in the system. It's better if I stay at home." "But we need the extra income, Jeffrey. You can't just make such big financial decisions alone." "You could have talked to me before deciding," I replied. "Is there anything to talk about? Do you want me to stay at work and damage my mental health?" He retorted. "No, Jeffrey, I don't want you to risk your mental health. I just wish you had consulted me before deciding. We are a team, and these decisions need to be discussed." Jeffrey ignored my feelings and never apologized. I had no idea what he expected me to do. I didn't mind my husband staying at home, but Jeffrey never did anything for the house either. I did all the cooking and cleaning while working 40 hours a week. Sometimes I took overtime shifts to make ends meet. Jeffrey just stayed at home and played video games. When I asked him to help around the house, he said, "I don't feel like doing chores. You know, I've been depressed for a while. I don't have the energy to do chores." "Jeffrey, I need help around the house. I'm working hard and can't keep up with all the chores. You don't have to do everything. Can you at least help?" I pleaded. "But I'm not good at these things. These are women's jobs. You can't expect me to do them. If I fail at these chores, I will feel even worse about myself." "Jeffrey, if you're having serious mental health problems, you should start therapy. I'll take up a side job to help you. It won't be a problem. I want you to get better," I suggested. "Therapy is for weak people. I don't need therapy. I just want to be left alone." "You're making everything worse by being pushy and annoying," he snapped. Jeffrey didn't even want to go to therapy. Believe me, I tried very hard to convince him. For the longest time, I believed he was depressed. I was so used to seeing the sweet and responsible side of him that I believed all his lies. Slowly, I realized that Jeffrey was okay. He had no problem lounging around the house and playing games. He even went out with his friends every week. Meanwhile, I was working like a slave both at home and at work. I had no time for myself. Jeffrey even stopped showing me any affection. All he did was sit at home and complain. Some of my friends warned me that Jeffrey was using me and becoming abusive. However, I refused to believe them. I still had full faith in the relationship. Somewhere in my mind, I thought the old Jeffrey was still there. I was wrong. I stayed in this situation for 2 whole years. It was a nightmare for me. One day, I got fed up and said, Jeffrey, we can't go on like this. It's been 2 whole years. You need to either help around the house or get a job. I can't do this anymore. I've already told you multiple times that I'm not in the mental space to work. Why can't you just listen? You have been annoying me a lot, he replied. Jeffrey, I have been patient with you for 2 years. You won't even get help for your problems. How will our situation get better? Will it ever get better? I asked. We are pretty good right now. What is your freaking problem? You're managing just fine without my help, he said dismissively. I have zero savings and don't have any time for myself. I had to work like a dog at both the office and home. I couldn't take it anymore. If you don't get help, Jeffrey, I will leave, I said firmly. Good, then leave, he snapped back. You just said you don't have any savings. How will you pay for a lawyer? And if you divorce me, you'll have to pay alimony. Plus, I'll get your house. Go ahead and divorce me. At that moment, I realized Jeffrey had trapped me. This was his plan all along. I had never felt so scared and hopeless in my life. All my love for Jeffrey quickly turned into fear. But I was strong-willed. With no family, I knew how to stand up for myself. Instead of cowering in fear, I made a plan to get out. I knew exactly who to turn to for help. The next day, I called Vivian from work and poured my heart out to her. I knew she was more reasonable than Jeffrey and would understand my helplessness. She had raised him single-handedly and didn't take nonsense from anyone. Even though she didn't like me, I hoped she would help. Vivian was furious, but not with me. What the hell, Edith? This is unacceptable. I'm embarrassed by what my son has done. I have no idea how he turned into such a greedy and selfish person. I don't know what to do, I confessed. I don't have anyone nearby. I don't even have a family. You're the only one I can turn to. I'm glad you trusted me enough to tell me, Vivian said. After what my son has done, I'm surprised you don't think badly of me. I have already given you enough reasons to hate me. Don't worry, Edith. I'm on your side. I will do something. Jeffrey has crossed his limits. Thank you so much, Vivian. You have no idea how relieved I am. I felt so alone and stuck after Jeffrey made those threats. Vivian was perfectly capable of handling Jeffrey. Believe it or not, he was actually pretty scared of her. As I said, Vivian didn't take nonsense from anyone and wouldn't shy away from teaching Jeffrey a good lesson. Jeffrey had no idea what was coming for him. I had all my ducks in a row and was just waiting for Vivian to strike. She showed up at our house about 2 weeks after I talked to her. When I came home from work, I saw her sitting in the living room with her luggage. She looked at me and said, "Come here, Edith. We were waiting for you. You must be surprised to see me here." "Yes, it's a pleasant surprise, Vivian. What brings you here?" I asked. "Well, there's been some stuff going on, so I wanted to talk to both of you." "What is it, Mom?" "Tell us immediately," Jeffrey said. "I was thinking about buying a new house," Vivian began. "My old house has become boring, and I don't want to live there anymore. So I was thinking about selling it." "But what will you do with the money? The house is expensive, and you'll get a good deal out of it. I don't think you need that much money right now. You should do something about it," Jeffrey said. "All right, son. I don't need that much money, so I've made a decision. I'll give you the money, Jeffrey. I have enough to get a new place with my savings. You can have the sale proceeds as an early inheritance of sorts." "Mom, are you serious? That is great news. I can't thank you enough. You've made the right decision," Jeffrey said, overjoyed. "Don't get so carried away, Jeffrey. I have one condition that you must agree to before I give you the money. I want you to divorce Edith. You know I never liked her, so I don't want her benefiting from your money. If you agree to divorce her, the money will be yours. If you don't divorce her, I will keep the money and do as I please." "Wait, that's all you want? You want me to divorce Edith?" "Yes, I even brought the papers with me. If you sign them, we can go for a mutual divorce. The entire process will be simple. I'll hand you the money once everything is finalized." Hearing this, Jeffrey's eyes lit up. He made no secret of the fact the offer was pretty tempting for Jeffrey. To be honest, I had no idea where Vivian was going with this. However, if he did divorce me, I would be free from being trapped with Jeffrey. So, I kept a solemn face and said, "Jeffrey, you can't possibly divorce me for money. Who even does that? Vivian, I know you don't like me, but offering him a bribe is going too far." "Don't talk to my mom like this," Jeffrey shot back. "You've been a neglectful wife, and I hate being with you anyway." Since Mom has gone through the trouble of getting everything ready, I won't disappoint her. I will sign the papers today. Seriously, Jeffrey, you would divorce me for your mother's money? Look, you've been wanting out of this marriage anyway, and I don't want to be with someone my mom doesn't like. So let's just make it easier for each other and get divorced. If that's your decision, I have nothing to say. However, I will only sign the papers if you agree to let go of alimony, and I won't be giving you a cent of my savings. Fine, I won't claim alimony or anything else. The alimony would be a small amount anyway. I can get myself a better life with Mom's money. I won't need your meager savings and alimony. Okay then, Vivian, you have your wish. We will sign the divorce papers. Hearing this, Jeffrey quickly took a pen from the table and signed the papers. He also promised to meet with a lawyer the next day to draw up documents for a divorce settlement. Vivian said she would help him get a good lawyer. Jeffrey, looking very happy, went off to the master bedroom to call his friends. Meanwhile, Vivian sat there with a smile on her face. She walked up to me and said, "So, my stupid son divorced you and accepted my little bribe. He didn't even take time to think. I had no idea how vile he had become. Let's make him regret this, Edith." "So, you did plan everything, didn't you? You're helping me get a divorce and leave Jeffrey." "Yes, I did. I know I've been hard on you all this while. I should have been more critical of my son. But don't worry, this time I won't slack off. Jeffrey will be taught a lesson." Hearing Vivian's words, I knew I made the right decision to divorce him. If I had stopped Jeffrey from divorcing me or stuck around any longer, he would have gotten even more abusive. But I wasn't going down so easily. While Vivian made him sign the divorce papers, I made him agree to a divorce settlement that would work in my favor. Jeffrey was so blinded by greed that he didn't stop to think of my terms. I guess he believed Vivian's words. Anyway, Vivian moved in with me and Jeffrey because she was selling her house soon and needed a place to stay until it was sold. She also told Jeffrey that she wanted to make sure I didn't try to change his mind. Jeffrey gladly invited her to stay as long as she wanted. I moved out of the house once Jeffrey signed a document saying that he wouldn't demand anything from me. I had a good lawyer who made sure everything was okay. I moved into an apartment and tried to start my life afresh. Vivian and Jeffrey stayed at the old house until the divorce was finalized after 6 months. When the entire process was done, Vivian, Jeffrey, and I met outside the courthouse. Jeffrey said, "Finally, I'm free from a witch like you. You were right, Mom. I should have left her a long time ago. I wish I had done this sooner." "You threw away years of love for your greed. You should be ashamed of yourself," I said. "Don't be dramatic, Edith. Anyone would do this for good money. You'll understand once I start living a better life than yours." "Mom, since my divorce has been finalized, when will you transfer the money? I need to pay the lawyers and start living a new life." "Well," Vivian said, "I changed my mind. I'm not giving you the money. I have other plans for it." "What? Mom, what happened so suddenly? Why are you changing your mind?" "Probably because I got what I wanted, and so did Edith. I'm well aware of the fact that you have been financially abusing Edith. She also gave me a detailed account of how you trapped her. If this wasn't bad enough, you readily divorce your wife for money. Do you think I would reward you after this?" "But Mom, you're the one who said that I needed to get a divorce. What is going on? Why are you taking Edith's side? You hate her." "Well, no, I don't hate her. Right now, you are the one I hate. How could you do this to your wife, Jeffrey? Is this what I taught you? You were nothing but Mom. This is a shame. You should be supporting me, not Edith. I deserve the money after everything. You will give it to me." "You deserve nothing," Vivian said coldly. "I've given half of the money to Edith so she can get a good lawyer. The other half I spent on buying the house you live in right now. But you won't be welcome there. Here is an eviction notice for you. After your month is up, Edith will stay there and she won't need to pay rent." The look on Jeffrey's face was priceless. Most people in my place would cry over the divorce, but I was laughing my butt off. Vivian's true intentions were revealed, and Jeffrey realized we used his greed against him. He went pale and started throwing a tantrum right there at the courthouse. Vivian and I got into a car and simply left the scene, leaving security to deal with his screaming and insults. I went back to my rented apartment, and even Vivian came to stay with me. Jeffrey was becoming unhinged, so I didn't want her in the house as long as he was there. Jeffrey tried to call us both, but we ignored his calls. He also sent us some colorful texts filled with threats and insults, which we saved just in case we needed a restraining order. As the days passed, Jeffrey's madness didn't escalate. Instead, his stance changed completely. He was now begging and pleading with me and Vivian. Honestly, it was hilarious. Gone were his threats and insults. Now all he did was apologize and ask for help. Jeffrey had hired an expensive lawyer because Vivian had promised to pay for one. That was a trap, so Jeffrey was stuck with a huge bill for his lawyer, who was getting restless and hinting at taking legal action against him. Jeffrey had to beg people for help because neither Vivian nor I gave him any money. He had a roof over his head, but he knew it wasn't for long. The eviction notice was hanging over him, and he simply couldn't afford to move out or get involved in another legal matter. He begged his friends for help, but they rejected him as well. I guess that taught him a good lesson. His texts soon became desperate, but we didn't reply. One night, Vivian told him to get a job and get out. She also informed him that he was being disowned for his horrible behavior towards me. For now, Vivian is staying with me while we prepare a permanent move to the house. Eventually, Vivian will buy a new place, but she told me that I could live there as long as I wanted.